CEE people? Dear CEE crowd, I require your attention. I don't have a gong. So bam! Wiem, po to dlatego zaczynam. Okay, everyone, welcome after what I can see was a very intense and productive and ice-breaking break. It is so nice to have you here with us at this session related to something that is very new and very amazing within our region, which is the CEE Hub, which I hope you all are looking forward to. Today we'll be talking to you more about what have we been preparing in the CEE Hub, what has been done already, and what we'll be doing in the future. And we will also be looking out for some of your input into the hub. One information I would like to share with you at the beginning: there is a way to have this conversation not only in this room, but also outside of this room and also after this session. I don't know if you are familiar with the Movement Strategy Forum, but the link to the forum is in the program. You can access the forum by logging with your Wikimedia account, and during this session and after this session, you can ask questions about the hub, you can give your input, and the best thing is you can actually do it in your own language because the forum is multilingual, so you don't have to do it in English. So join the forum, keep the conversation going, and we'll be answering all your questions here and there, also after the session. Michał, can I welcome you?
Hi there, I'm Michał Buczyński. I will start the session, and then more knowledgeable people will follow. So hello, thank you very much. It's great to see you in Ohrid. If we can go, it's of course the first slide of the introduction session, and then the other will come. Firstly, who are we? We are the response to the problems. We are the response to the needs that have been voiced in the movement for 5, 10, 15, 20 years already, from the very beginning. We started in a way in Haifa in 2011 when a bunch of CEE people gathered together and started thinking, what can we do together and what are our needs? And long story short, the movement has been asking these questions: what can we do to the people, what we are doing right, what we are doing wrong? And it came up with the strategy. So you might have heard about it. It took a number of years. And the strategy is very vocal about a number of things: about the inclusion, about the equity, about the subsidiarity, about the locality, about the support of the local people. Support so we can do the best things for the world, and how we can support each other, and how we do and organize things better, in a better way. So we have a number of recommendations, 10 of them, in short, and they are pretty important for us. Without it, ensuring equity in the decision making. So the people are making decisions about themselves, versus regions are making decisions about themselves, and local communities are making decisions about themselves. So improving user experience, and it means improving your experience. So improving experience of the people who are actually doing the Wikimedia world. So making the competitions, making the glam work, making the educational work. So you receive much more support from the movement, from each other. Oh, sorry. We are not having too many minutes, so yes, sorry for that. Coordinating across stakeholders. So we, as the region, or we as the people in the room, we can do many more things together in a concise way, looking for opportunities to cooperate, helping each other. Basically, we want to invest in you as the movement, in us, in the people. We want to invest in local communities and organizations to build much better things. And this is the strategy it's about. We want to also increase the sustainability. So it means that we want to be operating for 5, 10, 15 years. And that's also why there is a support needed. So to answer all these needs, we have one of the answers, and this is the hub. The hub, which is a service organization to the entities, to individuals, like single people, to organizations like user groups, like affiliates, so they can work better. So we take a lot of burden from them, and you can focus on the things that you want to do, what are really important, and many things are taken care for you. And who's making it? Before we go, so this is where the Habsburgs step up. As one of the Habsburg family members, Philip II Habsburg. There is more of us. So we can be the Habsburgs along the CEE tradition. We are the family. You can join the family if you are interested in making hubs and making things better for all the people in the region and the world, please. And now Clara Habsburg.
Oh, thank you. It's too much things, so I should press this and talk here. Hi, I'm Clara from Czechia, Prague, and everyone can see there, even the last person over there. Perfect. So, Habsburgs, I didn't get it, but I hope you do. I hope it's some of the Philip's ancestors. So, hopefully, because that makes sense then. Oh, you already saw this, right? It's a very nice slide. So, let's go down. I want to talk about just few things what's important for me on this whole process. And I want to share with you I think the essential of all of this. We are following the strategy that is here. And I can remember from 2017 maybe the talks about how things should we are following the strategy that is here. There was like hundreds of different I can remember from 2017 maybe hundreds of different demands and maybe praise, and we just follow because we need to choose one path, even though from like different directions and anyone can contribute in his own way. But one of these paths was hubs. Let's create like some other structure. Let's create a structure that is more close to the people, that is more close to regions. So the hubs was the part when I think I can remember in 2018 when we talked about hubs for the first time. And then what I get from that this is the task for us. We should create hubs. But what is it? I work in one of hub, but it's just a place where people meet and work together. So maybe there's the nice definition of that as well. So we tried. We don't have the, here are some of maybe definitions what this might be. But I always picture some place, some area, some time and space when people can meet and do something together. And this is something what we're trying to create here. The good and as well not easy is that we are basically the first one as a CEE hub, and we are the pioneers. Take it please this as a pilot. And if we won't make it right, we can make it even harder for the others. I won't swear, so you can guess what we shouldn't do as well. But it's not up to us; it's up to us, up to anyone who wants to be part of that and who wants to use Hub. I personally hope that the Hub will be there not just for the big affiliates and for us who are here, but as well for the regions that even haven't clue, even don't know that anything like Hub will exist. But we will help there as well. And we wanted to do it like right. So what we did was that we asked you, especially like Natalia and Wojciech, they did lots of interviews. I think it was more than 20 interviews and small survey. And they asked you, what do you think the CEE Hub could do? What do you need? What do you think it doesn't work? What do you think it can be better? And as well, what you can do and what you can't do because of the lack of time, because of the lack of passion, because of the lack of even like you just don't want to. And these are the facts that was the base for what maybe Hub can provide for you. So we have three main areas, three main pillars, because we needed to choose, right? We have one person, we have 1 year, and so we need to somehow structurized. And there are like three parts that we would like to cover. And because enough of me, I would like to invite Tony from Malta to tell his point of view on administrative part. Tony.
Thank you, Claire.
Why we need CEE Hub in administrative?
Yes. Well, the first idea of the administrative support really is organizational support. Our affiliate was one of the ones that was interviewed. This is Wikimedia Community User Group Malta. And for us, the organizational support relates to the fact that we are a very small community. There are only 3 very active people involved, perhaps, in the administrative part of it. And so being able to be part of the hub enables us to get support, for example, from Wikimedia Austria when it comes to grant writing, or even something simple as, you know, being able to more easily find a template for a budget, for example. You know, that sort of thing, and having a sense of a broader community to support us. So in keeping this first point simple, really, what is meant by the administrative pillar, as sometimes you'll hear it called, it's even listed this way on the meta. The idea here is organizational support. And I can vouch for it that we have received this through the hub kind of coming together in this way.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. Oh good. Yeah, as well, I don't know about you, but like 2-3 years later, I didn't have 9 colleagues. I have 2. And the amount of administration I needed to do, just fill in all the surveys that go from WMF. I didn't really know why and what should I do about them. And I had no one to ask to. So, for example, this can be, from my point of view, something that CEE Hub just know. There will be a person who knows what's going on, and you can ask. So, the next pillar, the next area, it's quite logical and it's programmatic. And I would like to invite another speaker, that is Martin from Latvia. Martin, why do you think the programmatic area is something that Hub can help to?
I'm speaking here as one of organizers of CEE Spring on international level, and what has been one of the biggest problems is that although we have quite rigid and unchanged structure for the project for years, like we still have to apply for a grant each year, and sometimes like the way we request grants are changing. We need to learn new structures. We easily cannot reuse like what we submitted last year. We have to prove it again, and when like the deadlines are quite strict, and then mostly it happened that we started CEE Spring without having 100% being 100% sure that the grant will be approved, so additional stress for us. So all that kind of problems that would be solved if we could talk directly to people who who support the project, and what has become of that is that our small international team, it's hard to attract volunteers to that, and we would prefer to work on something creative, not writing reports. And sadly, it's been in the last years that we cannot innovate right now. We just having this CEE Spring more like on life support. So yeah, I'm hoping that the hub can change that.
Me too. Thank you. For example, last year we tried to write a project together with Wikimedia Polska, Wikimedia Sweden, and Wikimedia Slovakia, and apply for the grant for European Union on education. We wanted to create something like Wikipuentes, which is like the project in Argentina. It's online project how to teach general public edit. So it should be something interactive. We didn't get it, but we would really much appreciate to have support of someone who can be there. If we wouldn't know each other, I wouldn't ask them and tell them, hey, just let's do the project together. The third pillar, the third area that we would like to cover, it's communication. And I will ask Slovakia and Matej, I know Matej. Come and please say something about what the communication it's not right, and what would you need from Hub?
Well, it's good to have communication, right? But sometimes there's a bit too much communication, and that's kind of what we've been experiencing, I've been experiencing. You know, there's the strategy movement forum, there's the Telegram, there's the Meta, there's the mailing list and so on, and sometimes it just feels like there's too much talk, and I just don't really have the time to go over all the discussion to make a contribution, right? Because it kind of feels like in order to contribute in a good and reasonable way, you really do need to look at what everybody else has been saying, right? And if you're not a paid staff member, or if you're not a full-time staff member, you're just going to focus on other things that are more pressing and more important for you to do. So, yes, that's my communication blues. Thank you.
Thank you, Matej. In Czech language, hub means mushrooms. And we are quite keen on collecting mushrooms in the woods, because it's spending time in the woods and it's free. And but what we are trying to do here as well is to collecting everything that we need to know. And I hope Hub will be the place that helps. But we don't know everything, and we won't know everything in the next year. So we will need your help, and we will need your ideas. We will need that you tell the people in your communities and in your countries that there is something like Hub. And if you can explain them what is going on, because it's very hard for someone just to know what Hub means. And we will just create all of this together. You might know there are other activities in the world, in the Wikimedia world. Wikimedia Europe, it's almost established. It should cover mostly Europe advocacy. There's a hub in Sweden that should be focused on GLAM activities. So I hope this hub will exist as well, because we supposed maybe have regional hub and thematic hub. So this is the idea right now, but it can change, of course. So thank you that you listened to me, and I ask Željko to continue.
Thank you. So for people who don't know me, I go by Z. On mailing lists, I'm more known. My first time to Wikimedia CEE meeting in person can I get the slide? Sorry. So I'm going to talk, okay, thanks, about the weird situation in which I am and why CEE Hub maybe makes sense also for oddballs like me who are a single person and doing work without affiliates. So although I have double citizenship, neither Bosnia-Herzegovina nor Croatia have affiliates, nor they have immediate perspective to found one. There is like no sense of community that would bring people in that way to work together. And so this is why you should participate in CEE Hub, in my humble opinion. I am hardly ever humble, but as you know, maybe from following Wikimedia movement strategy, there's tons of mentioning of these principles, and they are usually addressing needs of affiliates, sometimes of individuals, and I'll focus on individuals, why this makes sense for Wikimedian. So this perspective of working towards 2030 has this beautiful formulation about people-centeredness, which I, as someone who comes from NGO world, who is not encyclopedist, not enthusiastic to fill in Wikipedia pages, but actually organize and educate, I was most fond of these specifically bolded principles. And my work is usually in inclusivity and participation. I am focusing as a queer person on contextualizing all of these abstract meta-knowledge in my own personal practice, and collaboration and cooperation. And this is usually forgot because what is fronted are these recommendations, who are also abstract, but a little bit more closer to what CEE Hub is trying to implement. And the idea of sustainability, whoever it was a single person Wikimedian in their own country or in their own region knows how unsustainable that is. You are always juggling to the point of burnout. When people tell you, oh, they feel like they are burning out this month, and you say this year, and they are like, okay, they feel pity for 15 minutes and then they forgot they exist. Provide for safety and inclusion. I think this is super important to toxic environments like small Wikipedias are, but also other wiki projects or other type of work that relates to open content. Investing in skills, leadership development. I think my biggest surprise when accessing Wikimedia on the meta level 2.5 years ago was how little organized it is. For someone who established 2 different NGOs who were both radical and innovative, I was amazed that after 20 years you can join a global movement and there is no way of voting, no way of remunerating who is doing what, no way of like keeping track of what is being discussed where. It was like a mess that I spent like 1.5 years figuring out. To try to make some logic out of this, in CEE Hub metrics, I developed these points that could be maybe useful to some of you. Maybe they are not, maybe they are overly abstract even to you, but I think if you check some of the points, like, for example, developing capacities in pioneering efforts, like mostly countries are addressed, sometimes campaigns, very rarely communities. When you talk about supporting dissemination, there is lots of documenting, there is lots of planning. Sometimes there are peer circles, but there are hardly ever like reflection of results and dissemination of results. And this is super frustrating. We are like piling up things and no one has overview of those. And the third thing that is probably the most interesting for me, where CEE Hub could potentially go in future years, is how it can localize what Wikimedia Foundation has been doing globally to be more adequate in the context where things are. So actually to discuss things with perspective of Central Eastern Europe, with conflicts, with tensions, with lack of resources, with historic baggage and all of these things. together with practice-focused structures. So not think top-down, but think bottom-up. What is already existing on the ground? What kind of practices can be enabled to become more prominent, more sustainable? And the third point, what was even impossible to think before? Because when you have to communicate your ideas to someone in San Francisco, you are basically alien to each other. And if you are lucky, you get a person who maybe speaks more than English, and they maybe have been somewhere close to you, maybe they know something about your country, and that person can maybe understand you. But for whole foundation to understand your own, I will be naughty and say shit, is super hard. And yeah, I think this is the point where we hope to get CE Hub in next, I would say 2 or 3 years, not in a pilot year for sure, but to be able to actually innovate in the forms that couldn't have been imagined with existing structures.
Thank you. Thank you, Shoko. No, that joke went over my head. My name is Filip Kopecki. I'm from Austria. I was like part of this whole endeavor from the beginning. And I'm just going to talk you through like what happened since the last CE meeting. At the last CE online meeting, we did talk about the hub as well and about the progress we've made. And this is what has happened in the last year, basically. So first, and that's why some of you probably like remember where we did interviews with you, like from September 2021 until February 2022. And those were then like summarized in research, and we also had like a session about that in late February 2022 online, where we talked about this. And after that, we wrote a grant application, which then took a while to be like approved by the foundation, because there was a bit of a confusion going on as to what the CO hub, like what the hub actually is. Is it like a yearly program? Is it a pilot? And based on that, who at the foundation is responsible for it changes. So we're kind of caught in this foundation bureaucracy for a while. And after June, we started like the hiring process for the CE coordinator, CE hub coordinator. And yeah, that went quite well. Delphine did a lot of work on the hiring process. It was very professional for a volunteer group of people, I think. And yeah, this is the part where we're at. We're at this meeting. This is also kind of a meeting where we're trying to like get a mandate from you to carry on the work that we've been doing so far and that we'll be doing in the next year until the next CE meeting. And before we get to the CE hub coordinator, there's like a small slide. I'm not sure if it's very useful right now, about like how all of this works. Like where are you? So basically, I'm saying basically too many times. We are here. This is the CE meeting. These are the volunteers, like all of us. And we then like determine the steering committee. How that is determined will change over time, because we're not there yet in certain ways. And the steering committee then directs the CE hub coordinator. There's a typo in there, as you see. And if we have other staff than the CE hub coordinator, like that person will then like direct that staff. And because the CE hub is not an organization yet, like that will take a few years' time at least. We need like the help of like fiscal sponsors, and in this case we have like Wikimedia Poland helping us like set up this grant application and managing the funds for this grant and this CE hub. So that's this part here. It might sound a bit complicated, but it's really not. And you'll get to know it in the next few days anyway. Okay, and with that, I can hand over to Natalia, and she will introduce the CE hub coordinator.
Okay, so actually I'm very happy to be covering this part, because I think this is the most exciting, because we have been working on that very hard and it actually brings a lot of things forward. So, as Philip said, we have been working on hiring the CE coordinator for some time, and it was a very intense process, both in terms of how many people applied, because we had about 40 applications, many of them great, and we also had a very diverse hiring team. Delphine, as Philip said, made it work very professionally. We also had Wojciech as a person who did the screening and did a lot of great work. And apart of that, we had representatives from different organizations, Wikimedia Poland, Wikimedia Austria, Wikimedia Hungary, Wikimedia Ukraine, and Open Future. And I hope I didn't miss anyone, because we're a very diverse and dedicated group. And we were looking for a person, for a very special person. We're looking for someone with an organizational skills that can build an organization from the ground up, with a strategic thinking that can help us move forward, and most importantly, with a heart that can align with our mission and really passionate work on that. And I'm very happy to tell you that we found such a person, and some of you already know her. Barbara, can you stand up? You will be stuck in a minute, but this is Barbara Klen. And our new amazing C Hub. Yes, that's a dangerous thing. And she will be our new hub coordinator. Barbara brings to the movement many years of project management experience and direct staff management experience. She comes from an NGO background, so she knows where we are, and she has worked with values before. She has a lot of international experience, so she will be able to work with a diverse region as we are. And also, she has really a heart that can align with our mission and that can move our hub forward. And Barbara is a creator. She has experience in building things from the ground up, and she has a lot of energy and passion for it, which is very clear. So I am super happy that we can have her in the hub, and now she will tell a bit more about herself. Hello, Barbara.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I will try not to feel pressure, because when you hear someone talking like this about you, it's well, it's a nice but also humbling experience. So Natalia told you a bit how I was selected, but I want you to get to know me now. Not like how you would get to know me on LinkedIn by checking what I did, but also just to understand a bit behind my story, why I decided to apply for this, to work on this. It was mostly three things when I saw this, let's say, advertisement, because it was something in CE region that I'm passionate about. I'm from Croatia, but I worked also a lot in Bosnia, Macedonia on projects, Hungary, so I'm passionate for the region. This was something new, like I've never seen advertisement for a hub like this, and this was something that attracted me a lot. And third thing was, it's something really value and mission oriented. It's not a job. It is really a special mission. And how does this align with what I've been doing till now? I have many years of experience managing both projects and teams. I worked in both, or like in public sector, private and NGO. I finished my studies in the Netherlands. I studied European integration, collaboration, cooperation of people with a mission to build better lives for everyone was always something that I was passionate about. So after my studies, I started working in NGO sector. It was in Anne Frank Foundation in the Netherlands, and thereafter I decided to come back to my home country and to work on improving lives of people and communities in the region. So after many years of experience in private but also in NGO sector, I can really say that my personal mission is, how I see it, is connecting people, bringing people together, trying to bring new skills and knowledge to people, but with a mission that people can then use these skills and knowledge to have better lives, not only for themselves, but also for communities. And that's why, I see that I will be able, with my skills and knowledge, to contribute to the hub. And it will not only be based on my knowledge and skills, but also cooperation with you. I'm a very approachable person, communicative. I will do my best to approach all of you who want to be approached, hopefully everyone, and that we can really build this together, that we can, I see it as a joint mission. And I hope that next year, when we meet at this kind of conference, that we will be really then talking about some concrete results not like, oh, what this now it's like our imagination and what we are dreaming of, but we will have something concrete and that's something that we will be all proud of. Well, enough said. I hope I will meet, I will be able to talk to you in person, most of you, in breaks, during lunches, and during next 3 days. Feel free to approach me, talk to me, and even after the conference, I will be emailing you, so you will have my contacts. And I hear, are there some questions? Will we be taking questions now or later? Yeah, yeah.
How many edits and pictures were you taking last month?
The answer will be none. I wasn't a volunteer till now. My experience with Wikimedia or Wikipedia in particular is like that I was the user, but I'm bringing in the perspective of different sectors and different kind of work with people. So I believe that my perspective as a fresh one also will be something that will contribute to this process a lot. Because sometimes person who is like from outside can see things that you as an insider cannot. Are there more questions?
No, we don't have time for that. Okay. Well, thank you, Barbara. Good. So, and maybe to expand on Andrew's question a bit, like we also have the whole steering committee that like has been editing Wikipedia for quite a long time. So we don't need Barbara also to like be knowledgeable in that necessarily. Okay, so what is happening this weekend? So first of all, we have this meeting. We have an interim steering committee. Could the interim steering committee people stand up for a second? That's me, and like Kirill, Natalia, Wojciech, Gergo in the back, Micha in the back, Tony, me and Clara. And like you can approach us at any time and talk about the CEE Hub. Like we're happy to have discussions with you about this. Hank, you can sit down again. And yeah, just like approaches. Like some of us have like a CEE Hub like thing on our badge, so you can also identify us from that. Tomorrow afternoon there will be a workshop where, like, based on the things you've heard today, you can then talk to us and like let us know what your opinion is about this, like what maybe in the first year the priorities from your point of view should be, like what you would like to see from the hub, so we can like improve the program a bit until we get to the session on Sunday, which in the program is called like a general assembly with apprentice, like with like brackets. Thank you. But it's not really a general assembly because there's no organization in this way, but like this meeting and this group of people is probably the most knowledgeable in knowing like what makes sense for the first year, and then on Sunday we will like have a presentation of the new steering committee. If you're interested in joining the steering committee, that's also a possibility, because this is like the steering committee is like the core of the CEE Hub that makes decisions if they're necessary. There's a wider group of people that have been taking part in the bi-weekly meetings that we have, around like 20 people, including like people also from like Shelko, for example, and from Serbia, Ivana and Delphine, and other people who like bring their perspective in that like enhances like our discussions and makes it more like fairer in a way, that like it's not only focused on what's only like a small group of people is thinking. So if you're interested in joining that, that's also a possibility. Yeah. What kind of skill sets we're looking for the steering committee? We still have like some gaps in a way that like for some regions in the CEE region or some areas in the CEE region, we like have some knowledge gaps in a way, like including the Baltics and the Caucasus, for example, and Turkey. We would like implementation experience when it comes to communication or program development is always welcome. And if you have like expertise with like applying to non-foundation grants, that's also something that we are looking for. So that if you think like this is something you could contribute to, that's definitely something that would be valuable for the steering committee. Yeah, other ways to take part in this. You can take the experience you've had at this meeting back to your communities, and also talk about them, like what the C Hub could do for your community back at home. You can like talk with Barbara and the people from the steering committee about what you think could be done in the 3 fields, like the 3 pillars that we have, and also talk to other Wikimedians in the region about, like in other regions, about like what we're doing here, because as Clara mentioned earlier, this is something that's like fairly new in the Wikimedia environment, and especially like in this time of like we're well advanced, mostly because we have been like doing this informally for the last 10 years, and now we're formalizing this in a way that like then will show other regions like how this could be done from the ground up. Because I think the main thing about the C Hub that also like makes it stand apart from other hubs is like it is like a volunteer and community-driven thing. Like we're all volunteers in the steering committee. Like we're doing this all in our free time, which also means sometimes things take longer than they should, because we have lives that we need to live. And yeah, sorry, Ivana? Yeah. Yes. But I'm almost done anyway. So, you know, like just to emphasize, like this is something that's fairly unique in the Wikimedia environment. And yeah, you're all happy to pitch in.
Okay, thank you, Philip. So my question here is, it wasn't clear to me when you showed the structure.
Oh yeah.
If we wanna, for example, ask something or help for support or whatever to the CE coordinator, does it mean that we first go to the committee, or should we directly go to the coordinator?
Yeah. So this was done before we actually had the CE coordinator. So you can always go directly to Barbara, of course.
Yeah. So it's more logical to me to go there because you're a volunteer, and you know we want
this is more like an internal thing as well. Like if it's like about internal organization things with CE Hub, like you wouldn't directly go to Barbara and tell her to do something. It would like be through the steering committee, and then we ask Barbara to do the thing. Yes. Well, this will come up in a second anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's find back to where we were. Yes. So, as to Wojciech's like point, what's happening in the first year? So until the next CE meeting. First up, there will, like as Barbara mentioned, we will be contacting all of you and trying to establish like communication lines with everyone to try to like start figuring out how this all might work out. It says December because Barbara is most likely going to start on the 1st of December. So there might be like some Christmas break, but before we'll definitely like be in touch with all of you and start working on this. There will be like then next year, early next year, there will be like preparations for all the different events that will happen in the C region next year. Especially like C Spring, as Martin mentioned, and Wycliffe's Earth and Wycliffe's Monuments. And like the programmatic part of the C Hub is also there to like support you in setting this up for your community, for example. And yeah, then usually like most of you write your grant like applications to the foundation like in like they have to be finished like in September, October. So like we would start like supporting you in writing next year's grant reports by about April 2023. But you know, we'll be in touch, and this will not come as like we won't suddenly like hop up in April and say like, oh, we're here and we're going to do this. Like this will be a gradual process, and you'll know when things are going to happen. Okay, and that's it. I just wrote this very like late last night. It might not make sense to everyone, but like I think we can do this together. I'm very optimistic. Like through the pandemic, this has been the most fun thing, in a way, like as a volunteer to work on. So I'm very happy we're at this point, and we've gotten this far. It can't be that difficult now, can it? Okay, so there's a 5-minute break, but we will have, this is like the interactive part now, because we're not going to bore you like 1.5 hours with like presentations, so it's a bit like too much. We'll have interactive parts. You will count like from 1 to 10, and we'll have like about 10 groups. I think that would work out. So you have like 4 or 5 people in every group, or 6 or 7, I don't know how many people are in this room. And then you can like form a group with your number, and then work on the 3 questions that you see here. And you'll have half an hour time to do this. Like, these questions are actually from the interviews we did last year. And based on what you've heard so far, try to like imagine how the C Hub could like help you in your local community. Okay? So, we're going to count through. Wojciech, can you start? Wojciech. 1.
1. Yeah, 1.
Delphine?
1.
No, 4. We're counting to 10. We're counting to 10.
4. 5.
1. We're starting 1 again. 1. When we get to 10, you start at 1 again. Oh, sorry. I misheard. 4, yeah. Okay, Micha, are you the last one, or did it stop here somewhere? Okay, I hope you still remember your number after all of this, and try to find together, like, try to find the people in the first row that have your number, and then, so we don't have any, so there's been a bit of a logistical problem with the setting up the World Cafe. There will be like, just a few seconds. There will be like, everyone will get a piece of paper. I hope you have a pen in the group. If not, there will be pens outside. And then find the other people with your number, and find like a quiet corner here somewhere. And you have half an hour time. Yes?
Let's say who from the steering committee has the number and you can find us.
Well, not all the steering committee. Yeah. And yes, just find together, and you have half an hour time to answer these 3 questions.
At least we should
5.
have
1. 5. With 1. 2. 5.